What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into a brand new video here. Today, we are going to be checking out the Wuthering Waves 2.0 livestream. We're going to be checking out all of the different videos that were released and maybe scrubbing through the actual livestream itself to see if there was anything, new, anything really cool that was announced in the livestream that was not included in the videos. And yeah, we're just basically going to be offering our, thoughts, our opinions, our ideas on what was presented to us. And we will see how excited that we are for version 2.0 of Wuthering Waves coming out in 2025. I'm your host, Capybara, and yeah, let's dive on in. Let's do this, shall we, chat? All right, here's the first video that we have in front of us. It's called the Jinhsi Carnival, and it is approximately 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes long. So let's take a look at what is being presented here. Let's do this.
Those are plushies? Yes, they are. No way. Those aren't just any plushies. No, they're not. They're more than that. Jinhsi's beloved Epicent, the Wolves plushies, will be rocking out every night at Carnival. Ready to get your groove with our plushie DJs? Plushie DJs in the house. Jinhsi Carnival.
Find strength, tenacity, and bravery. The festivities may cease, but the gladiator spirit lives on. Experience the renowned morph painting, Hadrian's Gladiator, at the esteemed Salotto Open Air Gallery. Join us to unleash the indomitable power within. Be unstoppable. Jinhsi Carnival.
Hungry for a late night bash? Look no further. Come to Margarita's restaurant, open 24/7. Our yummy pizza is always hot and ready to please. Indulge in authentic oven-baked pizzas, or try our newest creation, the Pizza Tropicale. And with our speedy pizza oven Echo Bakey, your pie will be piping hot in 15 minutes. Order now and receive a special Carnival-themed baking pan. Ding ding! Delicacy rolls. Jinhsi Carnival.
A masterful photographer is like a rare aromatic cup of Carnival blend. They capture fleeting moments, freezing the essence of joy in time. The Raguna Pioneer Association has invited Seamoss, our esteemed eco-photographer, to immortalize the magic and mayhem of the evening. And in exchange for his expertise, a steaming cup of rich coffee-flavored developing solution will suffice. Record the world. Jinhsi Carnival.
Feeling like the Carnival won't be enough for you? How about to water extravaganza every day instead? Meet Tub Pup, your new eco-friend for bubbly fun. From bubble baths to water massages and catching shows while you soak, you name it. Montelli Porter's very own Tub Pup is here to turn your baths into rave time. Bubbles for all. Jinhsi Carnival.
Gather round, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, for the grandiose celebration of Jinhsi Carnival is upon us. Do grace us with your presence. We eagerly await you. Oh, and please don't forget to bring along your own mask. Endless fun, of course. Jinhsi Carnival.
Okay, very, very interesting, chat. Very interesting. So, I think my first impression that I get from this video right here is I feel like the Jinhsi Carnival, it is being marketed as kind of sort of similar to the Lantern Rite Festival that's going to be happening in Genshin, right, during version 5.3. I feel like the Jinhsi Carnival is likely going to be a very, big limited event that happens in Wuthering Waves during probably the entire duration of version 2.0, if I were to guess. And I think that, in this video, there were multiple different kind of like small advertisements, right? I think that each of those advertisements, they essentially represent multiple different activities that you will be able to do whenever you partake in the limited event that is released with version 2.0, right? So there's probably going to be, a combat activity. There's going to be one that is like photography, right? Taking pictures of areas in Wuthering Waves. There's likely going to be maybe a cooking activity, right? So I think that is kind of what this particular video showcases. I will say, I think that in terms of showcasing, I guess, content or teasing content from Jinhsi, from the brand new area, I do feel like this particular first video did not really do a great job. And what I mean by that is, for me personally, when I watched that video, I did not really get super excited about what was being showcased in this video, like the different activities. I thought it was okay, it was neat, it was not too bad at all, but I need to, be shown more, I guess, impressive and more interesting content and footage from Jinhsi, right? But I think that this was like a good first video, good like intro video, and let's go by this assumption, right? If we assume that this video right here was like the very, very, very beginning of the version 2.0 live stream, and then it would transition into the other videos that we're about to watch, I think that it's perfectly fine and it works and it functions, right? I think that there's no problem with it. There's nothing negative about it, right? But I think like watching this video on its own, standalone, I think that it is not super duper impressive and not overly exciting, right? But that's just my, very initial impression of watching this video. Okay, let's now move on to the second video here. Let me go ahead and make sure that it is high quality, 4K video. There we go. And let's go ahead and full screen it, shall we? So this is the Wuthering Waves Renacita area preview, 1 minute and 36 seconds long. Let's take a look. Ooh, that music shift right there. Interesting. Okay, okay. Very, very, very cool. Yeah. That is honestly very impressive. You know, I think chat, you know, at the very beginning of that video, I immediately thought to myself, oh, this is giving me, you know, very similar vibes to Fontaine, right? But then I think the more that the video went on and the more that we were shown, I think that, you know, this region, Renacita, I think that it is looking very, very, very impressive. And I think that, you know, they put a lot of time and effort and a lot of care into designing this region. I really like the sort of variety of landscapes and different, you know, architectural showcases, right, in each area. I think there was one area specifically that I can probably find during this video. Let me see here. I think it is, yes, this area right here, right? This particular kind of pink and rainbow colored area, right? I think this area looks extremely beautiful, and I really, really, really like it, right? Um, but yeah, I feel like each area is very, each different section of Renacita, I think is very unique, right, from each other. It doesn't really all have the exact same, you know, color scheme, and I think that it has a good substantial amount of like variety with the layout and the architecture and the nature and everything. Yeah, I feel like these different areas, they all look extremely magical in their own ways, right? So I really, really like this for sure. And you know, I'm gonna be honest. I think that so this is something that it's more of like a personal nitpick. It's more of like a personal kind of criticism that I have about Wuthering Waves right now, where I feel like in the game right now in Wuthering Waves, when you play the game daily, it does not really feel like you are getting a lot of very like unique and different scenery traveling around the world, right? Traveling around the map of you know, the region, right? And I would say that like right now, I think that there are basically two very like distinct separate areas of the map in the game, right? There is the base level map, which is like, you know, when Wuthering Waves first released as a game, this was like the one and only map that was released and existed, right? And then after a while, when the character of Shorekeeper and then, you know, like Camellia and whatnot, when they were released in Wuthering Waves, they came out with the kind of like second separate individual region known as the Black Shores, right? And I think that the Black Shores is very, 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 you know, cool. I think it is unique and different from the base game normal map. However, at the same time, I also feel like, you know, it is not massively majorly different in terms of the sort of color scheme. And I think like, you know, overall, the vibe of the two areas, there is a difference without a doubt, but the difference between the two areas, the vibe that you get, it's not, you know, super duper contrasting, right? I mean, if you take a look at this video here, you take a look at the various different regions, right? You have this region right here, which is very like European, very like Victorian England type era, right? You have basically, what is it? Let's see, what's the other area? Yeah, you have this area right here, the one that I pointed out as being really, really beautiful. It kind of gives off this like magical sort of mythological or mystical vibe to it, right? Then you go over here where, you know, this one, it kind of gives off a I don't know, kind of like a very maybe 1800s or 1900s America vibe, where like you have this circus type thing going on, and you know, you have this very unique, basically what seems to be like a whale or a whale type creature, who is the I guess like foundation of this circus, right? And then, you fast forward and you get to this place over here, which, I think I read someone who kind of commented on this particular scenery here, and they said that it sort of kind of gives them a little bit of like an Elden Ring vibe. And I can certainly see that. I can see this idea of like, oh, look, it's like a knockoff version of the Elden Ring Erd Tree or something, right? But like all these various different sceneries that we see in this video, they all are within the region of Renacita, but these different subsections are very unique from one another, right? And I would say that, like, there are a large variety of different color schemes that are being used, right, for each of these different areas. And then, as we go further into this video, the music shifts and it gets a lot darker, right? And now you have this sort of like, very like mysterious, very like ominous, right, kind of design to these areas. You see the shipwreck and the frozen water flowing around, right? It's just like, yeah, it's very, very, different within the same region, right? Whereas I feel like with the base, normal, regular map that is, the first region of Wuthering Waves, I feel like there's not really a whole ton of variety there. I feel like, honestly, if I were to teleport to like the north of the main base area, and then like the east and the west and the south, right? If I were to travel all over in all different directions, I think that generally speaking, the scenery is roughly the same. I think that there's maybe one area in the main base map that is visually different, and that is the area where the Inferno Rider Echo is at, right? Where the boss fight is at, because that entire area has this like, red color scheme, right? But I think that almost every other area in the game, it's not really that unique from the other areas, And I mean, you could very likely say that the reason I feel this way is because we've been playing in this base map game area for many, many, many months already. And so I've gotten, very accustomed to it, very used to it, and overly familiar with it. That could be an explanation. But I do feel like with Renacita, the amount of variety and uniqueness with the different subsections, it is vastly more and vastly more impressive than I think in the main base game map, right? So yeah, I'm very, very glad that the developers of Wuthering Waves, they took the time to put in the effort and, put in some care when designing the entire region of Renacita, right? I think that they did a great job with all these different sceneries, right? In any case, let's go on to the next video here. What is this one called? Assemble Echoes of Renacita. Okay, so this is going to be showcasing the echoes in this area. I wonder what is going to appear. Is there going to be anything that I find surprising or shocking? Let's take a look. 2 minutes and 10 seconds long. Okay, that's like an owl echo, a bunny echo, a bear echo. Is that like a mermaid? I think that's a mermaid. There's a wolf. Okay, classic. Another wolf. Classic. A third wolf. Classic. There's a giant bear. This bear reminds me of Danganronpa, right? We've got what looks to be a... I don't even know what that is. That's a hand. That is an eyeball with a hat. Another hand. It's a mimic chest. Okay. Ooh, that echo looks badass. I like that echo. Same as that one. Yeah. So these are like fighter echoes. Okay, okay. Ooh, I like that one. Yep, yep. These are all really cool. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They all look incredibly badass. Why does that echo look like it's perfect for Camellia? That's literally like Shorekeeper. Yeah, that's literally like a reskin of Shorekeeper. Holy moly. Ooh, I like that one. By far, I think the probably the coolest one yet. A dragon? Okay. Interesting, interesting. Interesting. Okay, okay. So I'm assuming what they did is they showcased the echoes from the 1-cost echoes all the way up to the 4-cost echoes, right? Yeah, so here's what I will say about the echoes that they showcased here. I think that there are some in here which are very, very unique and very, different, very interesting compared to compared to the pre-existing echoes that are already in the game, right? However, I will say that there are a couple of echoes in here that are a little bit similar to one another, right? I feel like what they did was they basically took one echo design and then they changed things. Like they would change the color scheme. They might change like the outfit very slightly that the echo was wearing. Maybe if it was like, a humanoid echo, they would change like the weapon, right? That the echo was wielding, So there is a little bit of sameness, right? There's a little bit of like echoes that resemble each other and are not 100% unique. However, I think that overall these designs were really cool. I still don't really know what the heck this creature is. It kind of looks like what it is like it's some kind of like a magical fox type echo, except for the fact that like it has these talons that kind of remind me of like a hawk or a chicken or something like that. I don't even know what the heck to call that creature. It's very, very bizarre. But I will say, so, okay, another really big thought that I had when I was looking at these echoes, and I think this especially occurs when we get down here and we get to see like more of these humanoid echoes that appear, right? These echoes, they, like, one of the first thoughts that popped into my head is that they kind of give off this, they give off like this Bloodborne or Lies of P vibe, right? Where it's like this sort of, yeah, kind of this, old English, kind of dystopian type, feeling to them, right? I don't know why, but like, basically these humanoid echoes, when I looked at them, I felt like, man, if these enemies existed in Bloodborne or in Lies of P, those two video games, I would not be shocked. I would not be surprised. And, it would be something where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's logical. That makes sense. And it fits, Yeah, like these designs, they are very, very cool. Very badass, without a doubt. But anyways, yeah, so that is like kind of overall the entire showcase of all the different echoes here. We've got one that looks like, it would be perfect for Camellia, one that looks like it would probably be perfect for Shorekeeper, right? Or maybe just healer characters or something, right? Yeah, I think that I really like this echo right here, this guy. I really, really like him, but at the same time, I feel like it is a little bit hard to be like, nah, this dragon is worse than the previous echo before it, right? I think that when you have a dragon echo, it's pretty badass. I would say, so my final thought about these echoes that I'd like to bring up and mention, right, before we move on to the next video, is that especially when it comes to the 4-cost echoes that they're going to be introducing in Renacita, I really, really, really hope that the 4-cost echoes, they do not have a super duper long animation that plays out whenever you swap your character in and you use their echo skill. I hope that the echo skill does not have a really, really long animation duration that does not allow you to swap characters and gain a buff, right? Because I think that there are certain echoes that currently exist in Wuthering Waves where if you try to cancel out of the echo animation while it is happening, you will not be able to gain whatever buffs, whatever kind of, I guess, like improvements and benefits that the echo offers to your character or to your team. And when you swap out your character without sitting through the entire animation of the echo, you basically just waste an opportunity to gain more damage or, maybe have an increase in energy recharge or whatever, right? So yeah, I really hope that basically the 4-cost echoes of Renacita do not have a super lengthy, super annoying animation kind of like, I guess, moveset that takes a while and does not allow you to swap out while it's happening, right? But yeah, very, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff indeed. I do really like these designs overall. Some of them are a little bit wacky, a little bit bizarre. Others are creepy, and some of them are pretty badass, and I kind of like that. So yeah, good stuff, good stuff. All right, let's move on to the next video here, which is the version 2.0 official trailer. All Silent Souls Can Sing. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to 1440. There we go, beautiful. And let's full screen this. All right, and let's play the trailer. Let's see what happens.
Come on, hearken to the call, the celebratory echoes of our grand carnival. Be drawn into a world of magic fire show, with fireworks in tow, the night sky on the glow. With elegance and charm, exuberance and glee, there's nothing that can stop our wild whimsy. There's no need for alarm, as we dance joyously to the beat of our drums. To celebrate, we know you have the fun. We'll beat the drum till curtain call, we won't hold back at all. Every note that's played, and every accolade, and every mask that hides a secretive message conveyed. And as we serenade, our characters portray this masquerade. Come with us to a place that's far beyond. Tonight rejoice along to our jovial song. To celebrate, we know you have the fun. We'll be the drum till curtain call like we don't have a time. Gotta live a little bit more. Money's coming in our room, feel the wall to wall. Let yourself be free at the carnival.
Okay, okay. That was pretty hype. I like that, chat. I like that quite a lot. Um, here's what I will say, chat. This is absolutely a personal preference thing. I do not expect anyone to agree with me, and I feel like, I am probably in the minority here when I say this. I am someone where I am very quite particular about the music that I enjoy. I have a very, very selective taste in music, right? And so, if I were to talk about the song that was used in this trailer, I think that the tune or the melody of the song was really, really nice. I like the tune, I like the melody. However, I am not really a big fan of the vocals. I'm not really a big fan of the acoustics that, were a part of the song. I think that if this song released and there was an instrumental version of the song without any vocals, without any acoustics at all, I think it would be fantastic. It would be awesome, and I would listen to it. But as, an entirety, like as a full package, I did not love the song, right? I can understand that a lot of people out there will disagree with this and they will say, like, I really like the song. I thought it was good. And that's perfectly okay. I mean, if people really like the song, then that means that the developers made a good choice with this trailer and they did the right thing. But for me, myself, and with regards to my own personal tastes in music, I was not the biggest fan of this song choice. So yeah. But overall, that was a pretty exciting, pretty hype trailer to show. I think that this trailer, it showcased a lot of different snippets, a lot of different like teasers for what is to come in Renacita. I'm pretty sure, like, I think almost every single 5-star, or maybe it was every single 5-star in Renacita was showcased throughout this video. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome getting to, see them in the town itself, in the area, and see them kind of like interact and whatnot. I think that was pretty awesome, right? Yeah, no, overall it was very, very well put together, right? And I think that they showed off a lot of really cool, aspects of Renacita that definitely get someone who is a Wuthering Waves fan really, really excited and really, like, eager to explore, right? Renacita whenever it releases. Yeah, so they did showcase quite a few different characters here. We had I think, where did they appear? I think they were like near the beginning here. Hold on, let me see. I don't remember if it was before this. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was like somewhere. Yeah. So this character right here, showcased in this scene, this right here, I believe, is the character Zani, or Zany. I'm gonna call her Zani because I think Zany sounds kind of stupid. But Zani, it seems like, is one of the few 5-star characters that will be releasing in Renacita. I think a lot of people out there, a lot of Wuthering Waves players, are really big fans of this 5-star character. So hopefully she does turn out to be really, really good. Who else did they showcase? They showcased uh the dancer, not the dancer, but like the colorful girl. Where did they showcase her? Okay, so here they have this character, this 5-star by the name of Carlotta, right? She is, I think, like, alongside Zani, I think that Carlotta is probably just as hyped up, like people are equally as excited for her, as well as Zani, or maybe more people are excited for Carlotta than Zani, right? Carlotta seems to be a very, very, very popular Renacita character, right? Let's see, here we have, I forget what her name is. I think it's like Rocio or Rockio or something like that. I wonder if they have it in the description here for who these characters are. They don't seem to. Okay. Let me see here. I think that maybe I might be able to, see her name in Discord, maybe when people are talking about it. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. So it seems like her name is Rochia or Rachia. I don't know how you pronounce it. I really don't. But yeah, it's the girl with like very colorful, blue and pink hair. That is the character in question, right? So they showcase her, and I believe she's going to be a 5-star, right? Then they also showcase, let me see, this guy right here. Yeah, this guy. And I think we get a better look at him at the very end here. Yeah, we do. This guy right here. So I believe this guy, his name is Brandt, Brandt, and he is going to be a 5-star, as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else, any other 5-stars that, we know about in Renacita that were shown in this video, but I think that's basically it, right? Yeah, so they showcased all these different 5 stars, and also showcased, you know, some NPCs, showcased some enemies, right? Including this character right here, who is the one from the very, very beginning of the game. Basically, she's the one that I think she's like the one who is maybe like an authority figure, or maybe a partner of the character known as Scar, right? The sort of villain or the antagonist. And it looks like, you know, Scar and this character right here. I don't remember what her name is. I think it's like maybe Phoebe or something like that. But you know, these like characters who are the sort of antagonists, they're the villains of Wuthering Waves. They are kind of a part of a very big, you know, organization, right? That has multiple different members as a part of the group, right? So yeah, it seems like this trailer is very, very jam-packed with content, right? With a lot of like sneak peek stuff. I actually no, I think this character right here, this blonde-haired girl, she might be another 5-star character, and I think that maybe her name is Phoebe. I think that is right. And then the girl that I showed before, the villain girl, I don't remember what her name is, but it starts with like I think it starts with like a PH or something like that. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember how you pronounce it. But I believe that this girl right here, the blonde girl, I think her name is Phoebe, if I'm not mistaken, and she is likely going to be a 5-star coming out in Renacita. So there's that. Yeah. But yeah, overall, this trailer was pretty cool. I liked it. I thought it was like, you know, a good amount of hype and excitement for version 2.0, and you know, they did a great job at basically presenting a lot of different teasers for what is to come without really. I don't think that they spoiled too much, right? I think that they did show some stuff which they could have if they wanted to. They could have kept it secret, could have kept it hidden. But you know, I don't think that they made any like sort of major bad mistakes with this trailer overall. So yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And you know, I think what I'll end up doing, chat, is, you know, we're going to move on to the next video that we're going to be taking a look at, and we're going to be watching that. And once we are done with watching all of the videos that have been released for version 2.0, I will give my overall thoughts. I will tell you guys, you know, what I think about it, and what I'm excited for, what I'm not excited for, what I am interested in, what I'm not interested in, you know. But for the time being, I will hold my comments until the end, right? So let's keep going here. Let's take a look at the next video. Let me make sure that this is you know, high quality, 1080p. There we go. So this is Wuthering Waves version 2.0 story cinematics. Story cinematics. Let's see how this is different from the previous video that we just now watched.
Montelli, this push for the Carnival. You invite history to repeat itself.
Lady Visalia, holding the Carnival is a wish we Montellis share with the people.
The divine envoys must not be defiled. Should your reckless actions anger the Sentinel, we risk disaster like that of 10 years ago. Are the Montellis truly prepared to bear the consequences?
You worry too much. It is known to all that the Sentinel is a god of peace and mercy. We only seek to carry on the festivity in honor of their name.
You Montellis risk tarnishing the Order's doctrines for your own greed. Your obsession for material gain has corrupted your vision. Mark my words, your obstinacy will spell disaster.
We regret that we cannot accept accusations without merit. Look at the people. They've adhered to the rules, but anticipation burns in their heart. Joy has been denied in this city for too long. The people yearn to see the laurel descend from the skies and once again hear the Sentinel's voice. Reverend Primus, should we not answer the people's wishes?
Primus!
To build the land envisioned by our Sentinel, we must walk the path they set for us. Thus, Raguna shall persist in welcoming guests from all corners, including those bare souls who dare to ride the Wuthering Waves.
Henceforth, the stage is set and curtains drawn. Ah, traveller from distant shores, what role will you play in this revelry?
I've been waiting for an eternity.
Ooh, Interesting, chat. Very, very, very interesting. Okay. So, I cannot pretend that I fully understand what was happening in that, story cinematic, but I think if I were to make sort of an educated guess on, trying to explain what was happening, I think that essentially the very vague, very like broad description of the story cinematic is that, these people, the wealthy people here, which I believe, what did they say the name was? Montelli? Yeah, I think Montelli is the name of like, the I believe that these are probably the one of the richest families or richest individuals in Rinascita, right? Um, it seems like they are, I guess, in favor and they support the idea of the Carnival, right? The Rinascita Carnival. And from what I understand, it seems like 10 years ago or however many years ago it was, the Carnival led to some kind of a disaster, some kind of an incident, right? And it was deemed as something that is quite dangerous and very risky, right? So I'm assuming that what happened is when that time was, when that incident occurred with the Carnival in the past, they canceled the Carnival, they shut it down, they made sure that it did not happen, right? So this guy, Montelli, if I'm not mistaken, he is attempting to argue, attempting to fight for the Carnival to occur, to be an event that happens, right? And he basically says, surely there's nothing that is going to go wrong. Like we are safe and nothing bad will happen. You can trust the Montelli family or whatever to make sure that this is a guarantee. Um, and so what it looks like from this trailer is that essentially, you have this scene here where yeah, so right here where the antagonist girl, Frolova, Prolova, Frolova. So this antagonist girl, this villain, Frolova, it looks like what she is doing is she is using the Carnival as sort of a distraction in order to, I mean, to put it very vaguely, to sow the seeds of conflict and chaos, right? She is using the Carnival as sort of a cover, and a distraction, right? Where, the Carnival is happening, it's a big major event. Everybody, in Rinascita is partaking in it, and they are focused on the Carnival. That is like, what is keeping their attention. And then behind the scenes, Frolova is causing problems. She is causing trouble, right? And of course, you go back here, the Montelli family, right? They are kind of maybe not directly helping Frolova, and maybe they are not directly the villains or antagonists that are causing the problems, but they are essentially allowing the problems to occur and to exist under their watch, right? They are allowing these incidents and these issues to fester behind the curtain, I should say. So yeah, and it looks like, obviously the story of Rinascita is going to involve the Sentinel, who is like responsible for guarding or protecting or watching over the region of Rinascita. And of course the Rover, our main character, our protagonist that we control, they are going to be roped into the entire thing. And we are going to get involved and we are going to be the ones who, at the end of the day, have to solve the problem and fix the situation and make things better, right? So I think that's like a very broad, very, generic description of what I took away from this story cinematic. I will say this story cinematic, it was done very nicely, and it definitely does have me interested in learning more. I want to play the basically the main quests for the story of Rinascita, and I want to figure out where this story leads to, right? Because I want to figure out like how do we go from this like very happy and joyous carnival event over to essentially this dangerous, risky situation here where, you can see at the very, very end of this trailer, right, this like upside down world, and it seems like maybe the Sentinel is speaking to Rover, is speaking to the main protagonist, right? And yeah, like basically how does the Carnival lead to this kind of mysterious, dangerous, risky situation that we have on our hands, right? Very, very interesting indeed. So that this is a very nice story cinematic. I really like this video, and I think that I think that in comparison to the previous video that we watched, which was kind of a very, basic version update trailer for Rinascita, I think that this cinematic, for me personally, it gave me more excitement and more of a motivation to, play Wuthering Waves when version 2.0 comes out and, experience the game and explore the new region. So yeah. Okay, now what we can do is we can go ahead and check out the live stream here. So we can check out this live stream, and we can see if there was anything, anything new that was not shown in those videos. But I'm basically just gonna be like skimming through this live stream and ensuring that like there was nothing that we have not really seen. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care that much about any sort of like commentary from the developers, right? Because I feel like all of the stuff that they are narrating or commentating about, it's not really stuff that I have to know in order to explore Rinasita and basically get to know the brand new region, right? Let me see here. So it seems like there might be a section here where they take a look at the character of Carlotta. Let me see here.
哇，狂欢的氛围拉满了。不过这张 PPT 就是隐藏了非常庞大的信息量。我们究竟从哪里先开始讲好呢？不如就先从2.0会跟漂泊者接触的2位全新共鸣者。来，这句话跟大家先介绍介绍吧。
好的，那我们来介绍一下那个克莱塔吧。她是莫塔尼家族的2小姐，表面上她是位优雅的头。
Okay, new Resonator, Carlotta. She is an ice character. Okay, okay. Art investor who embodies innate nobility.
暗地里却在为家族处理着不可明说的麻烦。
没记错的话，他是我们第1位使用配枪的5星共鸣者哦。
是的，克莱塔是一位使用配枪作为武器的5星冷灵属性共鸣者。在设计这个角色时，我们围绕着他的人设、性格以及他最核心的元素宝石进行了前期的整体设计。克莱塔作为莫塔尼家族的2小姐，优雅是必不可少的元素，因此在进行她的战斗动作设计时，我们融入了较多优雅的舞蹈元素。克莱塔的共鸣能力与宝石相关，她在战斗中可以使用共鸣能力生成枪弹，以及造成晶体化效果与冷凝伤害。与之相对的，在克莱塔的战斗特效中，我们融入了大量璀璨的晶体，如同碎裂四散的宝石，折射出耀眼的光芒。当克莱塔释放共鸣觉醒时，画面中会出现一面影射其自身的镜面，这一点其实与她的故事有关。至于故事的内容嘛，就敬请大家期待喽。与此同时，2.0版本中即将上线的全新5星配枪武器10与5，同样采用了大量的宝石与冰晶设计。我们希望把这个全新的武器能够与克莱塔的风格相互呼应，相得益彰，希望大家喜欢。
That's a very, very pretty weapon. I like the weapon design, and Carlotta looks like a good character, so that's awesome. All right, let's see who's the next 5-star that they're going to talk about. Is it Rochio, maybe, or however you pronounce her name?
克莱塔的枪体术配合他的宝石能力，战斗表现真的是华丽而又优雅呢。不过我刚才在 PPT 当中，除了克莱塔，好像也看到了一位不苟言笑的小女孩。不如接下来你再给我们介绍一下这位新的共鸣者吧。
好的，好的。在2.0版本中，率先登场的还有来自愚人剧团的洛可可。在剧团中，洛可可是一位即兴喜剧演员。他会将高难度表演融入到战斗之中，释放共鸣技能，还将制造小型龙卷风，大规模聚集敌人，为队友提供巨怪的效果支持。然后这个效果就算在中途切换共鸣者的时候，洛可可所提供的依然可以被队友所继承。洛可可和他的好搭档箱子怪佩洛合作非常默契，对抗敌人时，二者的动作就如同舞台上精彩的表演。
佩洛好有趣啊！不过我看洛可可的武器好像是佩戴在佩洛的手上哎。
没错，虽然洛可可使用碧铠作为武器，不过用拳头狠狠揍敌人这件事情，佩洛似乎更加擅长。在2.0版本中，全新的5星碧铠悲喜剧也将和漂泊者们见面。这款碧铠采用了不完全对称的设计，如同一个面具，也与洛可可的表演者身份相契合。
Interesting, interesting. Okay. So we have Rochio, which is, it looks like I believe she is a Havoc damage dealing character, and she is a Gauntlets user. Okay, very interesting. Let's keep going to see if they announce any other characters, if they talk about any other 5-stars. If they don't, I will pause the video and I will give my thoughts on Carlotta and Rochio, right?
看样子这次的武器设计都是充满了满满的黎纳西卡元素啊。既然我们来到了一个全新的国度，那是不是应该还有一些？
当然，在2.0版本中，我们还会推出一套全新的4星。
4-star crafting weapons. Okay. I like the green aesthetic. For those who don't know, green is my absolute favorite color. I love green. So this like color of green looks very beautiful, very pretty to me. I really like it. Poetry and Peian series. Interesting. I really hope that these, 4-stars are decent because, for those of you out there who are not very familiar with Wuthering Waves, I think one of the biggest problems about the game is when you are pulling for a 5-star character, right? I would say 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, you want to be pulling for their 5-star signature weapon because unfortunately, the 4-star weapons that currently exist in Wuthering Waves, they are, I would say at best, they are mediocre. They're not really that great. And, there's not really such a thing as a 4-star weapon that, is the best weapon option for a character, right? So yeah, the pre-existing 4-stars that we currently have, not really that great, very mediocre at best. So, I really hope that these new 4-stars breathe a little bit more life into the options that players are given for weapon choices. Yeah.
锻造武器是愉悦系列。同时，漂泊者们通过完成版本中的任务，还能获得一款全新的4星硬干衣。
4-star Rectifier, Call of the Abyss. Okay, okay. So hopefully this will be some kind of like a free-to-play weapon where, it's not too bad and you can use it, since it is coming from a limited event, right? Rather than being something that you have to craft from a blacksmith.
这样还差不多嘛，不错不错。 好了，在这也做了这么久了，我们一起活动一下吧。我可是听说拉古那有不少值得看一看的地方呢。
好啊，我们一起去逛吧。
好啊，走呗。
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward, chat. And what I'm probably going to do is, I see that in this live stream, they are talking a lot about, basically different events that are going to be happening in the game, and, basically how to move around, how to maneuver around Renacita, right? Like, they talk about how you can ride gondolas and how you can fly in the area, all that stuff. I think I'm going to skip over that stuff just because I personally don't really care that much about hearing about it. Like, I am the type of person where I don't really need to have someone explain it to me in words. I think I would rather just wait to see the functions, see the mechanics in game, and be able to try them out in game, rather than kind of just listening to people talk about it before the new update actually arrives, right? Okay, let me see here. Is there anything else? Oh wait, hold on. Okay, I think this is what they're talking about. This should be the part where they talk about like the banners likely to appear in version 2.0, right? Let's take a look.
来吧。那我先来讲讲版本活动内容。首先就是大家最关心的角色，2.0版本中换取活动另一种喧嚣和
When silence tolls, okay, Carlotta, we have Chisha, we have Sanhua, and Mortefi. Okay.
富彩做长营将率先开启，漂泊者们可从中分别获取新的5星共鸣者科莱塔以及5星共鸣者。
Ooh, okay, so a rerun of Zhe. Interesting. I see. Well, I will say that this right here, like between these two banners, very, very easy, simple choice. I think that Carlotta is definitely going to be the more popular and the more, I would say, yeah, like I think that Carlotta is way more powerful, way more strong and popular, and I think that like she is a better pick for any player's account compared to Zhe. If I'm gonna be honest, right? So I think that Zhe, in terms of her visual appearance, her visual design, Zhe is very pretty. I like her design. But in terms of her, abilities and her capability in combat and whatnot, I think Zhe is probably one of the worst 5 stars in Wuthering Waves, right? So, for me personally, I would never, ever, ever spend my valuable resources, my Ashtrites, on pulling for Zhe in the game. And I think that I would very much rather pull for Carlotta, without a doubt. So yeah, this I think is a very, very easy decision between those two banners on who to pull for, right? Yeah.
得知，在前2个换取活动结束后，将开启新的限定5星共。
Okay, so we have Rocha or Rochia. We have, is this Yuhu? I think it is Yuhu, as well as Dungeon and Yuan Wu. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
共鸣者洛可可的换取活动相中舞台和5星共鸣者金熙的。
Jinhsi rerun. Okay. Interesting. So, let me give you guys my opinion on this, okay? I think, in my personal opinion, I would rather pull for Jinhsi rather than Rocha, right? I would say that if you compare Jinhsi and Rocha, comparing like their visual design, how they look as characters, I think that Jinhsi is better. I think she's superior to Rocha, right? And also on top of that, I feel like, we did get a little bit of a showcase of Rocha's abilities, right? Her resonance liberation, her resonance skill, and all that stuff. And I think that, in terms of like combat performance, combat capability, I think that Jinhsi is superior, right? I'm going to be completely honest here. If Rocha was released in Wuthering Waves as a 4-star character, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be upset at all. And I think it would make perfect sense because the vibe that Rocha gives me is the vibe of a 4-star character. And yeah, I just have to say that, personally speaking, I am not a fan of the way that Rocha looks as a character. First of all, there's the fact that she is a very young-looking, kind of small character, right? And then there's also the fact that, like, I'm not a very big fan of Rocha's color scheme, the whole blue and pink mixture, right? I think that Rocha, the way that I would describe her is that she kind of looks like she is attempting to be a modern-day VTuber on the internet. And I just don't really enjoy that look. I think that it kind of looks dumb and ridiculous, right? I'm not a fan of it at all. So I would say that, if there was a person who was like, brand new to Wuthering Waves and they're like, oh, I want to check this game out. I want to try it out since version 2.0 is coming out, right? I would give them the recommendation, the advice to pull for Jinhsi rather than Rocha if they were to ask the question, right? Now, I want to take a moment to talk about myself and my Wuthering Waves account, right? Talk about like, my plans when it comes to these banners, right? I think what may potentially happen with my account is that there's a chance I will pull for Carlotta, right? It will depend on how she feels to play in combat. Because the thing is that, when it comes to games like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, and I would say like this can also extend to other action RPG games where you are controlling a character and you are fighting in combat. For me personally, I would say that my number one favorite category or type of weapon is swords. I like swords, and if you were to be very hyper specific, I really love like katanas, for example. So using a 5-star character like Carlotta, where the weapon of choice is pistols, 2 guns, I'm not really very familiar with that, and I'm not very comfortable with it. I don't really feel like it is super duper extremely powerful, right? Yeah, and I think like, one of the reasons why I don't really get this like vibe or get this feeling of strength from pistol carrying characters is, for example, there's a 4-star character in Wuthering Waves by the name of Chisha, right? She is like a character that you get at the very, very, very beginning of the game for free. And her weapon of choice is the pistols. And the thing is that, I did not ever, invest into Chisha. I did not really farm any echoes for her. I did not level her up, and I did not try to improve her build at all because she is a 4-star character. And because of that, when I would use her in combat, because sometimes I would need a character that has a pistol, she feels extremely weak and extremely pathetic. And so I have that image in my head, and I think like, surely there's no way that Carlotta, even though Carlotta is a 5-star, surely Carlotta is not going to be even more impressive than the 5-star characters that I currently do own on my account, So I think what will happen is very likely I will need to test Carlotta out. I will need to do her like trial run in the game and try using her to fight enemies and test out how she feels to play in the game. And if I think that she, has some good combat mechanics and she feels nice to play, I will potentially, spend dash strides and pull for her, right? However, if the opposite happens and I try her out and I hate the way that she plays, I'm not a fan of it, right? Then I will be, completely, totally okay with skipping her character, right? Now, speaking of the next like 2 banners after Carlotta and after Zhe, right? We have Rocha and we have Jinhsi rerun, right? I am a little bit conflicted about this. I don't really know what my decision is going to be, because here's the thing. So I did not pull for Jinhsi whenever she first came out, and the reason being is that Jinhsi's weapon of choice, the weapon that she uses in game, is a broadblade, which if you don't know what a broadblade is, it is basically the equivalent of a claymore from Genshin Impact or from other action RPG games, right? A broadblade is a big, massive, heavy sword weapon that you swing around as if it were, a giant club, right? Generally speaking, whether it's Genshin, whether it's Wuthering Waves, whether it's another action RPG game, I dislike claymore type weapons, and the reason why is because they feel extremely slow and annoying to use. They feel very sluggish and very like inefficient, very suboptimal. And I prefer weapons that are smaller and they weigh less, they are lighter, and they are way more quick at dealing damage. They're rapid, So that is why I enjoy sword weapons, right? So when Jinhsi first came out in the game, I skipped her banner purposefully because I did not want to play a broadblade character. However, after I skipped her banner, I've been interacting and socializing with a lot of different Wuthering Waves players, and I've seen that Jinhsi is a very, very powerful character. She can deal a good, significant amount of damage, right? And the interesting thing about Jinhsi is that when it comes to her like resonance skill and her resonance liberation, and you're using Jinhsi in combat, it does not really feel like you are using a broadblade, right? It doesn't really feel slow or heavy or sluggish or ineffective, right? Because even though Jinhsi is a broadblade character and she uses that weapon, when it comes to her resonance skill and her resonance liberation, she is a character that basically will have a very unique special attack where she uses her dragon, which is the sentinel known as Dway, right? She will use her dragon to attack the enemies. And basically what happens is like, when you use her skill or her liberation, she kind of, not exactly, but sort of kind of transforms, right, into Dway, into the dragon, and you basically move around the area, hitting the enemies and dealing significant damage to them, right? So, yeah, like I said, it does not really feel like Jinhsi is using a broadblade because she's not taking the sword and swinging it back and forth and smacking enemies with it just on its own, right? Just the broadblade itself. So, essentially, I am not really a big fan of broadblades. However, I recognize that Jinhsi is a strong character, and that even though she is a Broadblade user, she does not feel like a traditional Broadblade user. And so therefore, she is not a character that I would, immediately spend my resources for, and that I would like, without any hesitation, without any doubt, I would pull on her banner. She is not one of those characters, but she is a character where, if I want a good damage dealer, if I want a good DPS character, then getting Jinhsi would not be a bad idea. And I would be able to, basically I would be able to pull for her and use her despite her being a Broadblade user, simply just because she is that good of a character, right? Yeah. So the thing that I think is very, very, very important for me about my account and about these banners that are going to be coming out in version 2.0 is I kind of want to know how many Ashtrites can I possibly earn, can I save up for these banners, because depending on what happens, right, whether I am able to pull for one 5-star character or whether I have enough to pull for two 5-star characters, that will kind of determine what my decision ends up being. Do I want to, pull for a brand new 5-star being Carlotta, or do I want to wait and pull for an old 5-star character that is having a rerun and, rely on her instead, right? And I think, like, one of the reasons why this is kind of tough, it's kind of a very big major decision, is Wuthering Waves is the type of game where if you pull for a 5-star character, you really, really, really want to get their signature weapon. You want to pull for their 5-star weapon, and obviously that is going to cost a lot of resources. That's going to cost a lot of Ashtrites for you to get both of them, right? You may potentially get lucky, and maybe you get the character and the weapon within, let's say 40 pulls or less for each one, right? But, in my personal experience, I have had so many times where I pull on a banner and I do not get the character or I do not get the weapon until the 70th or 80th pull, and that is a lot of Ashtrites to be spending. That is a lot of resources to invest in a banner. And so, if you think about it, right, let's say that I wanted to pull for two different 5-star characters. I would need to pull for the first 5-star, then I would need to pull for their weapon, then I would need to pull for the second 5-star, then I would need to pull for their weapon. You know what I mean? So it's a very, very important, significant decision that I need to make, and I need to know how many Ashtrites, how many rewards are we going to be given in preparation for these two banners, or these 4 banners overall, right? But yeah. So that's basically my thoughts right now about these featured banners that are going to be coming out in version 2.0. We have Carlotta and Zhe, and then we have Rocha and Jinhsi, right? So yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's see if they announce anything else. Okay, we've got Carlotta's story and Rocha's story. Okay.
与特定的共鸣者同行，去感受他们不为人知的故事吧。在探索体验方面，伴随着里纳西塔这个全新地区的开放，区域的系列活动千岛路书和潮星寻迹也会同步开启。漂泊者们跟随活动的指引，一定能在里纳西塔玩得尽兴。
除了这些，我知道我们还有很多漂泊者日常喜欢和其他的漂泊者一起游戏。在这一块，我们有补充什么样的玩法吗？
当然，这个版本为大家准备了联机的副本。 新州和拉古纳的伙伴们一起观看演出，完成邀约，不仅能收到伙伴们的祝福，还可以免费领取共鸣者散华的全。
Ooh, okay. So Sanhua has a brand new outfit that they're releasing for her. Yeah, I have to say this looks extremely pretty, chat. And I think that compared to her default original outfit, I like this a lot more. I think that her default original outfit is not really that impressive. I don't really think it's that, that good looking on her, in my personal opinion. So this is really, really nice. And if we're getting this for free, that's epic. That's amazing.
全新服饰是邀告。
什么？闪华服饰免费领取？也就是说，漂泊者们期待已久的服饰系统将正式上线？
是的，2.0版本更新后，明朝的服饰系统将正式上线。漂泊者们可在角色系统里为共鸣者更换服饰。再次向大家强调，散华的新服饰是可以通过活动限时免费领取的，大家记得按时参与哦。除了散华新服饰，我们还将同步推出共鸣者惊喜的典藏服饰套装，桃夭灼灼。
Okay, Jinhsi Peach Blossom. So, I am going to make the assumption here, chat, that this outfit is going to be something that you have to purchase. I think it's something that is not going to be free, and you have to pay money for it. I wonder how much the price of this outfit is going to be, and I wonder how much it's going to compare to Genshin Impact, right? Because for those of you out there who don't know about this, I believe that in Genshin Impact, I can actually do the calculations and I can check. Let me see here. If I go to... I'm currently in Genshin right now, and I'm looking into this. Okay, so let's say 1680. All right, all right. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me open up my calculator. Where's my calculator at? Calculator. There we go. So let's do 1680. Divide that by 300. Okay. Okay, okay. So, here's basically what it works down to, chat. In Genshin Impact, right? If you spend, okay, if you spend a total of roughly, yeah, $30 in Genshin Impact, right? You have the ability to guarantee getting a 4-star alternative skin, right? An alternative outfit for a character. There is a version of an alternative outfit that is categorized as a 5-star outfit. However, 5-star outfits in Genshin Impact are incredibly rare. I think that there's only like, maybe I want to say maybe 2 or 3 characters maximum that have a 5-star outfit, right? So, it's not something where like every single character that has an alternative outfit has a 5-star version. I would say the majority of the time, the characters that have alternative outfits, they have 4-star outfits. So, in order to guarantee getting a 4-star outfit, you need to pay $30 to get it. However, not only are you getting an alternative outfit with that $30, right? What you are getting is basically, let me see here. Let me triple check. So you are getting, okay. So let me see here. Calculator. Where's my calculator? There we go. So you do 2700 multiplied by 6. And then you divide that by okay. So let's say that in Genshin Impact, you basically pay $30 and you get an alternative outfit, right? On top of that alternative outfit, you are also getting currency. You are getting Primo Gems, which equals roughly 101 pulls in the game, which, by the way, in order to put that into perspective, you need a maximum of 90 pulls in order to guarantee a 5-star character, right? In order to make sure that you 100% pull one 5-star character. And I would say that most of the time, right, you are able to pull a 5-star character in a lot less than 90 pulls, right? Usually it'll take you, I would say at worst between 60 to 70 pulls, on average to get a 5-star character, right? And that is like, I would say considered maybe worst case scenario. So getting 101 pulls worth of currency for the $30 plus you get an alternative outfit on top of that, I think that is very, very, very worthwhile. I think like you are getting good value out of the money that you're spending, right? So I am very curious to see how Wuthering Waves compares to Genshin. Is it going to be more expensive for a skin, and do you get the same level of value, right, with the like 101 pulls on a banner, or is it going to be worse than that? Is it going to be lower value and not as worth it, right? So yeah, I'm very curious to see what the cost is going to be for these like paid outfits. But let's continue watching, shall we? Let's do this.
花前月下，轻歌曼舞。金熙为了迎接新春典仪，换上了一身桃花点缀的本色裙装，也是为了纪念与漂泊者最初的相会。
哇，金熙太美了！我觉得漂泊者们看到这一身，一定会想起在尘嚣山与金熙共济风雪的相伴吧。不过，感觉只有金熙的服饰外观，真心不够，真心不够，必须还有些其他的东西。
当然，金熙的服饰套装桃夭灼灼里还包含了专属的武器外观、头像以及肌履印章等物品。更换服饰后，金熙的战斗特效也会有相应的变化。
It is very pretty.
这样才对味啊！服饰系统终于能和大家见面了，相信漂泊者们一定会很开心且期待。好，那么以上。
等，不止这些，我们还为大家准备了特别的福利，在指定时间登录游戏，所有的玩家都将从邮件中收到1600新生的奖励。
1600新生，我就知道，不错不错，这样才对。说完了以上的新内容，接下来也和漂泊者们说说，我们2.0是否还有什么可以展开讲讲的优化吧？
那就由我来和大家介绍一下吧。明朝的公测至今已经过去了7个月的时间，不知大家有没有在这7个月中与我们一同见证着索拉里斯的世界一点点的变得更好？从1.0开始，我们都在陆陆续续的推进各项优化的落地。2.0当然也是诸多优化调整正式上线的时候。首先，在剧情体验方面，为了让更多的漂泊者能够方便快捷地体验新版本的内容，我们将开放前往黎纳西塔潮汐任务的直通车。简单来说，就是只要完成了潮汐任务的第1章第3幕，就可以通过活动前往黎纳西塔，直接体验2.0版本的新内容了。
也就是说，新玩家和回归的老玩家们不需要打完所有的前置主线，才可以开始2.0的剧情，一上线就可以去狂欢节了。
是的。
Okay. So that feature that they mentioned, where basically once Renacita releases, you can immediately jump into the main quest line for Renacita. I'm not really too shocked by that. I'm not too surprised, and I feel like that is kind of like a standard feature that should exist in all gacha games, right? It should not be something where only one or only a couple of gacha games out there implement it, right? But it's nice that they mention it, and that they kind of allow the players to take advantage of this particular mechanic, right? Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep going, shall we?
不仅如此，为了让玩家获得新角色后能更方便的进行养成，从2.0版本开始，我们更新了材料限时提前开放的功能。漂泊者们可通过索拉指南或角色养成界面前往，提前解锁新区域的养成材料。
我开服以来就选了男漂泊者，但偶尔吧也会想体验一下女漂泊者的视角，到底有什么办法能解决吗？
我们确实听到了漂泊者们对此的呼声。这次时装的2.0版本优化也将包括漂泊者切换功能。更新后，大家就可以在设置系统里随时去切换自己选择的漂泊者了。
That's actually pretty big. I think that's really, really cool, chat. And the one thing about this, which I think is quite impressive, is that not even Genshin Impact has this feature, implemented in their game, right? So essentially, Wuthering Waves is doing something that now, their main, I would say, it's tough to find like proper phrasing for this, but like Genshin is a game that is kind of sort of a little bit a competition, right? A competition with Wuthering Waves. I'm not saying that like Genshin and Wuthering Waves are the only two games that should be compared to one another or anything like that. And I'm not necessarily saying that one of the games is like objectively better than the other, right? I'm just saying that like both of these two developer companies, right? Both of these two different games, right? They occupy the same sort of genre, right? And they fall under sort of like the same category of game, and so naturally they would be sort of competitors with one another. So it's very, very impressive that Wuthering Waves has now decided to add a feature that not even its competitor currently has, where basically the competitor, Genshin Impact, has been released out in the world for the past like 3 or 4 years minimum, right? So yeah, this is a really big win for Wuthering Waves. Really good job on their part. I will say, from my personal perspective, my personal opinion, when it comes to action RPG games, when it comes to things like gacha games, right? I always choose to play as the female main character, right? I never choose to be the male character in the game, just because if I'm playing this like action RPG game, why would I want to kind of stare at a male main protagonist the entire time when I could be looking at a very, very beautiful and very pretty female protagonist instead, So yeah, I always play as a female, and I always will. So this doesn't really affect me personally, because I will always play female rover, and I will never switch to the male rover. But for the people out there who started playing Wuthering Waves, and maybe you made the initial decision to play as male rover and you want to switch, then I'm sure that you will absolutely love this feature right here. So good stuff.
日常体验方面，另一个漂泊者们频繁反馈的优化也将时装，那就是便捷合成。2.0版本更新后，只要打开了终端界面，就可以进入合成系统啦。同时，在合成系统当中，我们新增了置换的功能，漂泊者可通过该功能将多余的材料转化为自己所需的材料种类。此外，
That is actually really, really good. So the first part of that particular quality of life optimization is that essentially when you need to like take materials and you need to combine the materials into a higher rarity, for upgrading your characters, before version 2.0, you were required to go to a specific location in the city where there was a particular like machine, let's call it a machine, that is called the synthesizer, right? And so you would go there and you would click on the synthesizer, and then you would use that in order to convert your materials. And if you think about it in terms of Genshin, right, it's very, very similar to the crafting bench in Genshin, right? Now, after version 2.0, you can basically do that anywhere on the map. You do not have to travel to a location, which is actually another thing that Genshin does not have, right? Genshin, you have to be at a crafting bench in order to utilize that function. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in Genshin, there are, I think that like, I would say at the very least, what you can do in Genshin is you can travel into the Serenity Pot, and if you have a crafting bench in the Serenity Pot, you should be able to use it there. But I don't know if Genshin has given players the ability to create a portable crafting bench that appears anywhere in the entire world. I think the only thing that Genshin has done that I can think of off the top of my head is they've made it to where you can have a portable stove that you can cook on, throughout the entire world, where you can, make recipes and you can make different food items. So if this is true, if Genshin does not really have a like portable crafting bench that you can use anywhere and everywhere, then this optimization of Wuthering Waves is definitely, it is a big thing, where it's definitely a very, very impressive change that I think is going to be very, praised by the Wuthering Waves players, right? The second thing that he talked about is that you can actually take different open world materials and convert them into other open world materials that you are lacking. And that is something that I think is incredibly, incredibly valuable, right? The reason why is because ever since I started playing Wuthering Waves, when it first released as a game, I realized that there was a specific type of material that I don't know how, but I was like always obtaining this material. I think it was basically just from farming domains, farming, for certain level up material. I would get this particular specific material, that is completely separate and completely different from the one that I wanted, but I would get it as like sort of just an add-on, extra item, right? And so after playing Wuthering Waves for several months, right, and farming these domains and whatever, I accumulated quite a lot of this material. And the thing is that like there are not enough characters in the game that use this specific, open world material in order to level up, in order to ascend. And so I now am at a point where I have an overabundance of those materials, and I am lacking the other materials that I need to go and spend my wave plates and I need to go and farm for. So allowing us to convert between these open world materials is a massive, massive improvement. It is a massive upgrade from this, previous system before version 2.0. So this is really, really big stuff, and I'm very, very happy about it. So great job to the developers for listening to the feedback that the players have and implementing it. They did a fantastic job, without a doubt. Let's keep going here.
还有活跃度任务的进一步减负，之后每日登录游戏便可以完成20点的活跃度任务啦。在世界探索方面，我们也进行了进一步的升级。在探索黎纳西塔的旅途中，随着玩家探索度的提升，不仅能获得翱翔能力的强化，也将解锁隐藏的区域内容。同时，基于丰富的深海之国玩法，地图与探索度也进行了进一步的便捷性优化，希望他们能够为漂泊者们提供更方便的探索体验。
Okay. So basically the thing that they mentioned about exploration, right, of Renacita, I think that stuff is kind of like it's new information, it's new content relating specifically to the brand new region, right? So I don't really have any thoughts or comments about that. I'm basically just thinking I can't wait to check out Renacita, and I can't wait to check out the flying mechanic and all of that. But I will say they did mention something at the very, very beginning here. Let me take a look here. So it says, by logging into the game daily, you'll earn 20 activity points and finish the corresponding task. Okay, so I think what they were mentioning just now is basically something that already exists in Genshin Impact, and that is this idea where what you can do is every single day in Genshin Impact, right, you log into the game and you do your daily commissions, right? So you do your daily commissions and you play the game, you explore, you do these like different tasks. Like you might go and you might do a world quest, right? Or you might partake in a limited time event and you might earn rewards from that event. In Genshin, they have this system where every single day that you are logging in and being active on Genshin, doing different activities, right? You earn these special, very specific points that you have. And what you can do is basically, once you accumulate enough points, you can log into Genshin, and let's say that there's a day where maybe you're extremely busy. You don't have time to play the game. You don't have time to do all of the things that you normally do on a daily basis. You're very busy on that day. You have other things you need to focus on and prioritize. What you can do is you can use those special points that you have accumulated over time, and you can automatically complete the daily commissions without having to, travel around the map and actually do the daily commissions themselves, right? So you can automatically collect your daily primogems for that day. And, the longer that you play Genshin, the longer that you, are active in the game, the more of these, like, special unique points that you earn, right? And it accumulates over time, right? So I think that what they described just now is basically the exact same thing, except for it's in Wuthering Waves as well, right? If that is the case, that's really, really good. That's really nice, because I will be completely, totally honest here. There are quite a few days where I wake up and I think to myself, I'm not really very motivated to log into Wuthering Waves and or Genshin Impact, and I don't really want to spend, 7 hours playing these gacha games, right? I would rather just log in and then very quickly log out after, maybe 10 minutes or something like that, right? So yeah. I feel like it is something that is very, very valuable, very beneficial if you are not feeling like logging into the game and grinding it on a certain day. Maybe you're super busy with something. Maybe you just are not really in the correct mindset, the correct mood to do it, right? So yeah. But let's keep going here.
进行了进一步的便捷性优化，希望他们能够为漂泊者们提供更方便的探索体验。此外，主界面的沉浸模式也将在2.0正式上线。在沉浸模式当中，系统 UI 将会暂时的隐藏，给大家带来更沉浸的战斗探索体验了。最后，我们
Okay, so they just now mentioned basically the concept of hiding the UI and making the entire screen, much more, I would say, cinematic feeling, right? This is a thing that, I believe as more and more modern games are released, as they are designed and you know, created and put out to the public, I think that the sort of cinematic, immersive, I guess, mode or design of the user interface is becoming more and more common. And I think it's something that more and more games are adopting, right? I don't really, like, you know, have a problem with the basically the immersive mode and the cinematic perspective, right? I don't have anything like negative to complain about, right, when it comes to that option, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It is a choice. It is an option. You don't have to do it, right? What I will say is that for me personally, when I play a lot of games, right, I would say that quite a few of the games that I play, they require a certain amount of focus and attention. And I don't really play a lot of games where I can, you know, open up the game and I can half-heartedly play the game. I can play the game, you know, without really paying attention, without looking at the game, and kind of like, you know, multitasking with my mind thinking about something completely different. And, you know, I can't open a game and play it while staring intently at a YouTube video or a Twitch stream and focusing on that instead of playing the game, you know? So when I am playing the games that I play, I actually really do prefer to have, you know, the different buttons and the different, you know, actions and whatever on the screen, because it allows me to mentally remind myself of what I can do and what, you know, what options are available to me in that moment. You know what I mean? And what I'm about to mention right here, this is a very, very hyper-specific example, and it has nothing to do with Genshin Impact, and it has nothing to do with Wuthering Waves. But I do want to mention this just as an example of why, you know, I prefer not to use the sort of cinematic mode, right? So Elden Ring is a game that I absolutely love. I love Elden Ring a lot. I think it's an incredible video game, and I really, truly enjoy playing Elden Ring, you know, every single time that I load up the game, right? I remember that there was, I think it was a Twitch live stream, or it might have been a YouTube video, but I think it was a Twitch live stream that I was watching, and there was a content creator who was playing Elden Ring, and they turned off the you know, user interface. They turned off the you know, buttons and all the extra kind of details that appear on the screen when you're playing the game. And I remember what happened is they were, I think they were doing some sort of a challenge or something where they wanted to fight a boss or fight multiple bosses, and they were trying to do it without getting hit or without dying or something like that, right? So they were doing like a very special challenge run. And they had their UI turned off. They had all the buttons hidden and everything. And what happened is they did not realize, because they had their UI completely clean and in the sort of like immersive cinematic mode, they did not realize that in their, like, basically their bag or their pouch or whatever, right, with the items that they can use, they had the wrong item selected. And so when they were like in a boss fight, when they were attempting to do this challenge, they accidentally used the wrong item, and because of that, they ended up dying. They ended up getting killed in Elden Ring. And you know, whatever sort of like challenge that they were attempting to do, they basically had to reset. They had to like restart and whatnot. So, you know, that happened. And I remember when I was watching either the live stream or the video or whatever it was, I wrote a comment on there and I said, this is exactly why I never want to remove the buttons and the UI on the screen, because I never want to run into this sort of situation where I am doing really well, you know, in a, let's say, a combat scenario, and then I have the UI turned off, I have all the buttons off of the screen, and I accidentally fuck up because I am not able to see, you know, what behavior, what actions I am doing, and what buttons I'm pressing, what items that I'm utilizing, right? So that is kind of a thought that pops into my head, and I think it's basically just something where it's like, because I'm someone who considers myself a Dark Souls and Elden Ring and whatnot, an enthusiast and enjoyer of those games, and I have been kind of trained to play those games and you know, get better at those games, I am someone who does not really care that much about a cinematic or immersive mode that removes the details of the UI on the screen. But yeah. In any case, let's keep going, shall we? Let's see what they say here. So Archive of Melodies. Let me see what the Archive of Melodies is.
也将针对声音上线一项全新的功能——留声增强。漂泊者们可以在里纳西塔通过一位特殊的
Okay, so it's basically just a music thing.
游戏内的所有配乐，还可以通过它更换背景音乐，随时随地享受自己喜欢的旋律。
Very, very cool. Okay, awesome. So it looks like that's the end of the live stream. We did not really miss a whole lot, I think, you know, compared to the videos that were posted on the channel, right? The shorter videos. I think that, like, in terms of the live stream, the main thing that you know, was showcased in the live stream that we did not get to see during the videos themselves was we did not really get to see the specific banners, right? Like the 4-star featured characters and the rerun banners, right? And we also did not really get to see the optimizations that they were going to be making to the game. So those things, obviously, 100% were very, very very like good to learn about and very good information to have. But I wish that what they would do is they would put that information in its own kind of separate individual video rather than having, players like myself have to go through the live stream and kind of skim through everything and find that information specifically. Yeah, yeah, I think so. What I can say is that overall, I am excited about Rinasita. I will say I do not yet know what characters I am going to be pulling for and what characters I'm going to be skipping. There's a chance that I pull for maybe Carlotta and also pull for Jinhsi, right? Or, I think that maybe worst case scenario, I might skip Carlotta and pull only for Jinhsi. It'll kind of just depend on certain factors, certain possibilities, right? So there's that. I will say, I don't really love to make a comparison between Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, as I feel like both games have their own strengths and they both have their own weaknesses, right? That are completely separate and unrelated to each other, right? But what I will say is that, as a player who plays both Genshin and Wuthering Waves and enjoys both games, I think that at the end of the day, if I had to be 100% truthful, I am a little bit more excited for Genshin Impact compared to Wuthering Waves. Like, Genshin Impact version 5.3, that is something that I am more hyped and more excited for compared to Wuthering Waves version 2.0. Simply just because, I think, for me personally, the combat system in Genshin Impact where you have this concept of elemental reactions is extremely enjoyable, extremely fun. And I also love the characters and I love the kind of main storyline of the game, right? I got into playing Genshin Impact like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and I just have a lot of fond memories. I have a lot of history with the game. And so I feel like it's kind of only natural that I am more hyped and more excited for Genshin. Wuthering Waves, I am very, interested in Rinasita. I'm very interested in version 2.0, don't get me wrong. But I think that Wuthering Waves is still a game where I view it from the perspective that it is still a young game that has not been released for a very long time. And, I don't have this sort of, like, complete total trust and faith in the game, right? I think the way that I would kind of phrase it, if I were to try and explain, I would say that right now, Genshin Impact is a game where I think that I have been playing the game for a long time. I've been enjoying the game for a long time, and even if I get a little bit, burnt out or a little bit tired of Genshin Impact at certain times, I know for a fact that I will always return to the game. I will always, come back and enjoy what the game has to offer. Whereas I think with Wuthering Waves, currently speaking, I'm at a point where, let's say that hypothetically speaking, Wuthering Waves, they, came out with a brand new update, and the brand new update that they release is terrible. And there's nothing good that they offer. There's nothing interesting, nothing exciting, nothing that I, desire from the game, right? I think that as of this moment, Wuthering Waves is a game where I feel like I can essentially like log out of the game and I can uninstall the game and quit playing it, and I will have very, very minimal regret. I won't really feel this pain and this like, this desire to reinstall the game and jump back into it immediately, right? And I think that, if let's say you were to give me this hypothetical scenario of basically making me choose between Genshin and Wuthering Waves, and you were to tell me like, hey, you have to quit playing one of these two games forever, right? You have to, uninstall the game, get rid of it, and never, never, ever touch it again in the future, right? If you were to give me that kind of a life or death scenario where it's like, one or the other, you can't have both, right? And you have to choose one to get the axe, right? I would say that Wuthering Waves is the game that I would choose to forever quit playing and to walk away from and to never look back at, right? So yeah, I think Wuthering Waves is a game where version 2.0, it looks great, it looks awesome, and I'm looking forward to it, right? And I think that basically I will continue to enjoy Wuthering Waves as long as the developers continue to basically treat the players well, right? Once the developers do something to the game that ruins it for me personally, I will very easily, right, walk away from the game and not really care that much about continuing onward with playing the game daily, right? So yeah, that's kind of my overall take at the moment. I will say, considering that Genshin and Wuthering Waves, the updates for both of those games, it's happening at the very, very, very beginning of January. Starting the beginning of the year, it's going to be very, very, very busy. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do. There's going to be a lot of content to explore and to enjoy, right? So I am excited about that. I'm very, very happy that at the very least we are starting off 2025 with a very, very, eventful and very fun, very enjoyable time in both of these games, right? So yeah. But in any case, chat, that right there was my entire review, my entire reaction to the Wuthering Waves 2.0 live stream, and the short videos that they released on their YouTube channel. That was every single every single thought, every single opinion that I had about what I witnessed. I can't wait until the update drops. I can't wait to see which brand new characters or maybe even old characters that I end up pulling for. And yeah, I cross my fingers. I hope and I pray that whoever I do end up pulling for, I don't have to spend all of my Astrites on obtaining the character and obtaining their signature weapon. Yeah, that's basically it. In any case, if you are hypothetically watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it quite a lot. And yeah, feel free to write a comment down below the video. Let me know, what are you excited for? Do you love Wuthering Waves? Are you ready for version 2.0? Are you ready for any particular specific character that you're going to be pulling for? What is the most exciting thing about version 2.0 in your opinion? Feel free to write your thoughts and your opinions down in the comment section below. Don't be afraid to. I think it'll be wonderful to get to read everyone's comments and to be able to, see how this live stream has affected all of the different Wuthering Waves players out there. And yeah, if you are someone who has never played Wuthering Waves before and you are thinking about maybe possibly potentially getting into Wuthering Waves, yeah, I would say that the version 2.0 update would be a good motivating reason to start playing the game and to check out the world of Wuthering Waves, right? Yeah. In any case, thank you so much again for watching, assuming this does turn into a video, and I hope to see you guys again during the next video/live stream that occurs, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Twitch. For now, I will say see you guys later. Peace out. Bye-bye.